This forecast is brought to you by Teal Family Moving and Transport. Jake and his staff will get you moved right the first time at an affordable rate. If you have moving coming up in your near future and you need an estimate or you want to schedule a move, give Jake a call at 402-984-8140, and I'll leave that number at the top of the screen there in the top of the banner. In the meantime, let's get to the forecast. Obviously, another hot and humid forecast on the way, but there is relief in store, but that relief coming isn't necessarily a good thing for our farming friends where growers need some of that heat and humidity to continue with that late season replant that we had from the storms in June. But first, those highs once again stretching into the mid 90s. We'll get a little bit of a break overnight. We'll start off the morning on Sunday morning in the mid 60s, but with those dew points factored in, it's going to feel like it's in the upper 90s, not only on Saturday, but also on Sunday. As we get into next week, there is some relief, but let's talk about that drought. If you happen to be watching my forecast from the western part of the state or the southwestern part of the state, you know how dire it is out there, especially with the lack of good quality pasture land. If there's even any left, grass is tough to come by for the cattle. The crops are not doing well unless they're irrigated, and we're still dry here in Adams County and parts of Kearney, Phelps County as well, even parts of Buffalo County. You get a little better as you go back to the southeastern part of the state, but there's not much rain in the forecast over the next 72 hours. But as I said, then we'll get a better chance at rain coming up in the 70 forecast. But in the meantime, let's talk about our growing friends here, especially around Hamilton, Fillmore, and York counties where they got absolutely decimated back in June. I talked to one grower and one producer in Fillmore County, and he said we need to keep this type of hot, humid weather going to really help that late season replant of the corn and beans as we get into October and November.
Ideally, we would continue with the warm sunshine conditions that we're currently experiencing now, and some beneficial rains here and there. This crop right now is actually under a threat if we'd have a severe wind event or something like that of brittle snap yet for the next 7 or 10 days. So we need to get through that stage. We're going to need to continue with the heat we're experiencing now to get this stuff matured. And there again, we're hoping for 60% of normal yield. I think that's maybe a realistic expectation if we can get this matured before a killing frost. Humidity is really the key factor. If we can get low humidities throughout harvest, that significantly helps with dry down.
So as you can see here on that 7-day forecast, we start to get some changes and a break from the heat and humidity as we get through the beginning to middle of the work week and school week time frame. You can see here that Monday we go to the upper 80s, back to the upper 70s, and then right back in the 80s. But a cooler stretch to end the work and school week next week, carrying into the following weekend, but not before hot and humid conditions this weekend. Rain chances look to be the best Tuesday into Wednesday. Severe weather is still a little bit in question here, and exactly where the rain placement will be is in question as well. So it's important to stay plugged into the forecast. In the meantime, I'm meteorologist Tim Jones. Thanks for joining me here on Nebraska Weather TV. More on the forecast coming up in the coming days.